I was asked recently to outline how to build like the dream business from scratch. And I thought of two things right away. And I think what caused the question before I dive into my two opening items would be the fact that A, it's year end, and B, you've got so many people right now that are leaving corporate and looking to escape their W-2, like by the droves. And the stats are enormous if you just Google that. How many people are going to entrepreneurship or starting their own business? So super appropriate right now for year end. Here we are beginning, I hope you're thinking about 2023, and also super appropriate right now because this market we're in hasn't been this conducive to creative real estate in my 31 years. So I love talking about how to start in general, but you are timed perfectly now without even knowing it. And so many people would love to be at that position every year in their life. And at the same time, I want to update you on some special milestones and lessons as I built my own business, because I think real experience is the best way to outline for you what the ideal business from scratch is. Too many people give you theory. When I'm on podcasts and radio shows, I try to think immediately when they ask me a question, what's a deal or a story that can answer that? Because that's real. That's not theory. Secondly, I'm going to actually address the dream business from scratch by just outlining my story and my journey, not just the lessons, the whole journey. Because after 31 years, I consider the last 10 to be the ideal answer to the question, how to build a dream business from scratch. Now, there's a lesson right there in and of itself, right? I just said the last 10. What about the first 18 to 21 years? Well, those were learning years. And I guess I'd ask you, are you willing to put in that kind of learning time, learning years, and sacrifice? And I think yours would be less. You can lean on shoulders of mine and others who have kind of made the boo-boos and made the mistakes. So even if I said, are you willing to do that for 3 to 7, that can seem daunting for some of you. But I think in order to have things exactly like I'm going to outline for you that I finally got to in my last 10 years, you're probably going to have to be willing and ready to do that from a sacrifice standpoint. Now, I'm also going to give you some resources as I go throughout that I've used and still use, and I'm going to do them as I go. So you might want to pause the video when I get to those points, because I'm just going to throw out phone numbers and names and things that I think you're going to gain from. And so it's going to be steps, it's going to be resources, and then it's going to be on your shoulders to implement. Now, many of you are probably familiar with my lovely 2008 experience that I called in my book the 2008 debacle. So I'm going to start there as that kind of launched my ideal business, if you will, to what it is today, as I'm able to peel back a bit from the day-to-day now finally. And that's coming off of 2 years in a row, our company being in the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in the United States. And I'm not saying that to pat us on the back or an ego statement, but for more of, look, I went from broke literally to that into this that I'm going to explain. And so did many others, by the way. It wasn't just me. And therefore, you can too. Fact. Find someone who did it, model after them, and don't veer off the course. And I don't care what kind of baggage or headaches or debt or anything else that you have to start the new year. It's not that I don't care emotionally. I'm saying that's not relevant to you starting a killer business. Let's wipe the slate clean. Let's forget about that. Like, really forget about it. Don't put mental space there. Don't beat yourself up. And if you need my help with this, please book a free strategy call. Go to smartrealestatecoach.com/action. There's your first resource. Write it down. Just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/action and let them know when you have your call, in addition to that call, that I'm offering you personally to speak with you for a few minutes. I want to help you. I want to help you have a killer 2023 and beyond. Now, a little context. I had hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. I had creditors chasing me. I had worked out a payment plan with the IRS. Let me drop a resource here. This will be a bomb and a half. You're going to want to go to the website endtaxproblems.com, and his name is Jerry DeLang, and Jerry helped me back then, I'm going in order here, with solving a major stress point with the IRS, to the point where once I hired him to do the work, never looked back, never talked to the IRS again. He did all that. If you have a tax issue right now, please don't wait. Go to endtaxproblems.com. Tell Jerry you heard me talk about this on a video, okay? I'll go on. I had foreclosures. I had repossessions. I could keep going, guys. But here's how I started, and here's how you can for an ideal business. And by the way, stay tuned to the end of the message here, because I'm going to give you some great things to look forward to when you do this properly for yourself, so that you know sort of what the prize or prizes can and will look like. All right, real simple. I procured a phone number with a company called Freedom Voice. Now, I know you have your cell phone, but this is going to help you keep some distance and some privacy so that when you have incoming calls, they can go somewhere and be professionally handled. I then procured a website because the goal was to do deals ASAP, as I needed cash flow literally like I needed water. I was just cut off, for example, from a direct sales company where I was speaking. My wife and I were traveling, and they literally, in a phone call, cut off my income source. I had to downsize to a 900 square foot apartment, just to give you, again, some context. So if you're going through anything, you understand it's okay. I then needed a lead source. So I started with My Plus Leads, which to this day, we and all our students still use, and they're on our resource section of our website, smartrealestatecoach.com/resources. There's another writer downer for you. Now, I could stop there, kind of progressing through the ideal business model, but now I needed a skill set in this niche. Despite prior to the crash, my 17 or 18 years as a realtor and a builder, it doesn't matter. I had that experience. I did not have creative real estate experience. So I studied sort of a mismatch of things all over the internet. And I did hire one coach for those 6 months, and I kept in touch as friends, and we still are to this day. Now, I had someone on a podcast say to me recently, wow, instead of just kind of hodgepodging all the internet, you sort of jumped the line by doing that. I said, absolutely. Because I know there's a lot of free stuff out there, but I wanted streamlined focus. And remember I shared with you, I needed cash like I needed water. By the way, if you don't have our best-selling book, Real Estate on Your Terms, it's updated post-COVID. You're going to want this in your hands. And I want to give it to you for free instead of going to Amazon. Go to wickedsmartbooks.com/YouTube. It's yours for free. So write it down, guys. That's another action item for you. Now, end result, I ended up doing about 13 deals my first 6 months. That was actually summer of 13 through the end of the year, December. So think about your situation. You can duplicate that. You simply need to be laser focused mode and follow these things 100%. It's not a buffet line. It's not a la carte. It's not pick the ones you think will be okay and easy and palatable. It's do all of them and you'll have 100% predictable success. Now, when I coach my high six associates, because I still coach them, who do like 80% of the deals in the community, I simply go step by step with where they are. And there's no deviation, and they get great results. And I think one of the reasons is they're super high, serious, and committed. And so they go, just tell me, what's next, what's next? And they have great success because of it. All right, let's jump back to me. I then would always critique my own phone calls. Right? Because I got my lead source, I got my phone, I'm ready to drive people to the website. So I would critique my calls to see how off script I might be. Now, we also provide you scripts. We have them right in the QLS home study program. And we actually critique calls for associates because I remembered going through that learning curve thinking, man, I got to look at the scripts and I got to kind of self-analyze. But what if I had an expert looking over my shoulder? There's no faster way to learn. My wife often says to me, who's going the fastest right now and why? And my answer is usually, well, they send me a bunch of calls when they're new and I critique them and their learning curve just gets shortened. Amazing, amazing. All right, so you got your phone, you got your lead source, hopefully you got your coach, you got some critiquing going on like I had to do self at first, but now we do that for you. And that's any business, by the way. That what I just gave you, you're going to generate leads at a restaurant. You need phone, you need all the same things. You need someone to critique you so you can be better running that restaurant. But it doesn't matter, any business. By the way, any business, when I say the word critique, any business, when you think of the acronym that I've been talking about now since, 2001, I think I started with this. It's called ACA, A-C-A-A, and it stands for taking action, A, critiquing that action, C, adjusting based on that critique, A, and then taking action again. And that's a cycle. And that's all I did in that process there when I was critiquing my own calls. And there's a video that addresses that right in our home study program, the QLS program. And by the way, you can grab that. If you don't already have that, I'm going to drop another resource. Go to smartrealestatecoach.com/QLS. Yes, there's a lot of resources here. I'm trying to describe, remember, let's stay on focus here, your ideal business from scratch. And I'm giving you literally every tool. Now, here's the important piece and something we talk about all the time in our company, stacking. Stacking simply means, as we critique for you, we're going to look at your business and say, based on you, based on what you brought to the table, based on how fast you're learning, this is what's next. Okay, now this is what's next. And that's the stacking process that we use at your pace. That allows you to do the next keyword in this business building from scratch, your ideal business, It allows you to scale. And I never had done that. So what did I do? I hired a coach. Well, that's a new concept. So I got to 2017 by muscling it out, by kind of just grinding it out, and always more in the solopreneur mode. And I said, okay, I want to scale now, but I never did it. So I asked around. Several people told me to go to a company called Elite Entrepreneurs, who to this day, our entire company still seeks training from. You can learn more about them. Go to smartrealestatecoach.com/ignition. Now, if you're brand new, do you need that today? No. If you're ready to, you've got a business and you're ready to move out of that and move into more CEO kind of business owner mode and get your life and your schedule back, it's for you. If not, write it down for later. All right, next. In that scaling and stacking process in working with Elite, team building was huge, right? Picture this. Now you're building a team. That was all new to me. So again, I had to start working on things that Elite taught, which were things like creating a mission, creating values for the company. To this day, we accept students like you, and we hire and fire employees like you based on values. That's it. Real simple. It's very predictable that way, and there's no personalities that can get in the way. Now, I went quickly here. I'm not in any way implying that this is easy or was easy for me. In fact, it was the complete opposite. But it is a very simple process, but not easy. These 10 years took me, however, from being a solopreneur for my first 17, 18, I guess you could fully go 21 through the crash when I was kind of in mode where I didn't know how to operate, so I was stuck. And it moved me to CEO/owner mode. Now, before I let you in on a sort of a special announcement and a change for our company as far as CEO position, as I use that word 3 or 4 times, I want to stress that the challenges that come along the way, you should not only expect, which I think I've alluded to a few times here, but welcome. Like almost get excited for them. Because if you have a challenge and you get to call someone, I don't care if it's me or someone else, and you should be excited because their answer is going to grow you. No question, you're going to be stretched. I want to give you 3 books for resources right here. One book is called The Hard Things About the Hard Things by Ben Horowitz. The Hard Things About the Hard Things. Straight and right to the point, telling you what challenges you will, like I sort of just did, encounter. McDonald's Behind the Golden Arches by John Love. They made a movie out of it. It's an amazing real estate and business building book with things that you're going to have to encounter yourself. And the last one, I could keep going, I'll give you another one, is Michael Dell's new book, Play Nice But Win. Amazing, very up-to-date book. Now, in my case, when I said expect challenges, I'm talking about, like I can shoot a few at you. Licensing laws in certain states, challenging some of the things we did. Of course, we won flying colors, but there are headaches, there are curveballs, budgeting, debt reduction, new real estate problems that come our way that then we have to update the community right away, cash flow challenges. There are also simply people who will, this is just life, who are going to shoot arrows at anyone who is successful. That's going to beg the topic of proper asset protection for you and your family. I do surprisingly have a resource for you to do that, because if I had that, 4 years of headache probably could have turned into 1 or less. Go and seek out who Anderson Law is. They've done our asset protection, and they do all our students' asset protection since we've been in business. Go to smartrealestatecoach.com/Anderson. Please, if you do nothing else and you're out there operating in business, go get that properly set up, okay? Now, I could go on and on with my headaches. I'll just give you a few. In the 90s, I got a call from an attorney, and he informed me politely that my company was pushed into involuntary bankruptcy. I didn't even know what the heck that meant back then. I got a call in the same year from the banker saying that my account had been overdrafted $86,000, and it was done by a person that was running our money. It was supposed to be trusted. I had tow trucks showing up in my driveway during the crash. I had American Express right during a growth spurt for the company take our credit line from 50 to 15 despite better sales. They do wacky things like that. I could go on for an hour, guys. Expect the challenges. Have someone to lean on to get you through them, and you will be ecstatic with your growth and your learning curve. All right, back to the CEO topic. As of January 1st of 23, I am officially, or I have passed the baton, so to speak, of the CEO role, speaking about kind of stepping back, to my son-in-law and partner, Zach Beach, so that I can go back to sort of my roots, I'll call it, of doing deals. That's how I started, and that's how I started the business, and working personally with high-level, committed, and serious people. For us in our community, that's the high 6 associates and a brand new level called the Chairman's Club. You won't find it on the website. It's not advertised. It's by special invite only. If you want to come to one of our events, you'll probably meet them and learn about what they're doing. Absolutely amazing. And then I love doing interviews and meeting amazing people, because that's how business development has grown for us and been very lucrative for us. That's where I'm hanging out. Now, why do I share that with you? Because I told you from the beginning I'd share my experiences for your ideal business. Now, you might not want to get to the end zone and go, yeah, I still want to do something. That was me. You might want to get to the end zone and say, I'm done. Maybe I'll sell or move on or live off of the 3 paydays that I've created, dozens and dozens and dozens. You can do that. The point is you'll have options. All right, so I really spit out a lot to you guys about my journey, and I did it as fast and bulleted as I can, but I hope a nugget or two came out of that for you. And I want to set you off to kind of run and do your own thing. It starts with you telling yourself the truth, really. And that truth starts with a couple of gut check questions. And I encourage you to do this. This is a write down, or even though it's not a resource, it's there for you to answer. Where are you right now? Like here, you're going into a brand new year. Where are you? Financially and otherwise. Where ideally do you want to be at the end of 23? Let's go only a year out. And then you got to determine right now what's blocking you. Something is. Is it your mindset? Is it your past? For me, for 4 years, I was stuck in my head that I couldn't move forward, that it was my fault that I went through that, even though it was a national crisis. So what is it for you? What's blocking you? And then here's what's super important. If you can tell the truth with that, what's super important is you saying or answering what resources, what people, what books, what material, what can help me break through that block? You're all different. It's sort of like when you plug in the address in your car and the navigation, and it says you want the toll route, the fastest route, blah, blah, blah. Well, all of you, depending on what you answer those questions, are going to have different routes, and we can help you with that. But there's a few things I want to make sure that you're in the right mode to do this. One, keep your eye on the big prize. I just asked you, where do you want to be in December of 23? Keep your eye on that, because here's reality in the United States right now. This is crazy. Less than 10%, I think it's closer to 3 or 4, of the companies in the United States ever hit 1 million in revenue. 1 million. Yet we give you a 3-year, $1 million plan that allows you to have an outline that can get you there. Some will do it faster, some slower, but it's an outline that can predictably get you there. And we have a 3 payday system that produces right now, historically, 45 grand to 250 grand per deal, all 3 paydays. Well, how many of those do you need to develop a $1 million business? Not a truckload. So I don't know what it is for you. I don't know if 1 or 2, 3 deals get you excited, or 10 or 12 or 24 get you excited. The fact is you can get there and you can build and be a statistic that doesn't happen often in the United States. Number 2, as far as thinking and getting you in the right mode to do this, please realize and give yourself a break in that you can't change overnight. You can't. But you can change absolutely anything you want. And as a reminder, look, I don't care how old you are, you fill in the blank here, but it took you blank amount of years to get here. If it took you blank amount of years to get here, 32, 40, whatever it is, don't expect instant success. People see real estate marketing online, unfortunately, and they want that instant success. You know, the person that rents the Lamborghini and sits on it and tells you you can have this tomorrow. It's not true. It's just not true. Because what we've got to deal with and come to terms with is, once we say, yeah, we want that. Okay, great. How about the big elephant in the room? We got to address it. The big elephant in the room is sacrifice. Sacrifice. So whatever that might mean for you, I'll help you define some things that I think you have to sacrifice to get there. But for me, I can't tell you all these years I've loved 12 and 16-hour days, or loved getting up at 4 in the morning because I knew that was important, or loved working out because I thought that was important to deliver the right energy to the team, the students, etc. That's sacrifice. You have to define it. I'll help you do that. But if you've got the right support mechanism and the right people around you all the time, and if you're doing everything they say, everything, not a la carte, I'll take this, I'll take the ones that are comfortable. No, if you do everything, it's just a matter of time for you. Trust me on this. It's just time. My best analogy for you to think about is water boils at 212 degrees. We know that. Yet I look at our community, and about 17% of the time, we know our numbers, we see people jump off the treadmill. They jump off. They didn't have instant success in 3 months, versus regardless of me saying it's going to take 3 years. They didn't have it, so they jump off. So they're letting that water boil to like 210 right before they're going to have success, they jump off. Okay, so don't do that. I'd ask you to do some more gut checks here as we wrap up. First, how fast for you personally, just mentally, how fast has the last 10 years gone? Does it feel like it's a blink? It feels like that for me. 10 years ago, I was downsizing into an apartment, a 900 square foot apartment from like a $3 million property. Well, that was an eye opener, but that was 10 years ago. That's a blink. So the question for you is, if you're in the same spot today as you are 10 years from now, are you going to be okay with that? That's the question, because I promise you it's probably going to be a blink again. And I know a lot of people say, well, all this discipline, Chris, all this stuff you talk about, that's hard. No, it's not hard. It's just different. What's hard is those curveballs I talked about. And I know maybe prior to hearing this, some of you thought you were the only one with those curveballs. You're not the only one. So don't beat yourself up, and don't beat yourself up for the past. It's time to wipe the slate clean and move into 23 with huge expectations, with someone on your shoulder. We can do it, or someone else can if you choose that. But someone's going to be there to help you. The fact is, you and I both did the best with what we had. I did the best at the time with what I had during the crash, I thought. You did too. Don't beat yourself up. Also know that we got you. The Wicked Smart community is like no other community literally in the entire North America in the real estate world. Wear your parachute, wear your support. You're not alone.